your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News Weekend Edition with Jeanette Roche.
Hello, and thanks for joining us. A short-lived protest outside of the RCMP detachment in Fort Macleod ended in victory on Thursday evening. More than 200 protesters gathered to demand the release of freedom activist Alex Van Herk. He was originally charged with mischief, over $5,000, for his involvement in the Coutts border blockade earlier this year. But the Crown imposed an additional condition on Van Herk, ordering him to stay away from longtime friend and Fort Macleod town councillor Marco Van Hugenbos. Van Herk refused to sign the condition, and crowds gathered outside to demand his release. The Crown withdrew the condition, and Van Herk was released from the detachment that evening.
I refuse to sign, and that's what we've been fighting for the last 3 years, is our charter rights and freedoms, right? Freedom to protest, freedom to assemble, freedom of religion. And I said, that's what's been taken away, and that's why I'm here. It says, had they not taken our charter rights away in the last 3 years, I wouldn't have been in there. And I said, we need to stand up for this. And I feel truly that the constables that were there and the sergeants that arrested me were definitely fighting the same cause, but their hands are tied. But I told them all, here's where we take our stand.
Van Herk adds that it was the support of the people outside the detachment that made the condition withdrawal possible. He says that police took pictures of the crowd to show him that he had support, and he praised the officers, saying they, quote, fought hard to have the condition rescinded. A rally was held on Wednesday evening in Lethbridge to acknowledge a special day for Ukrainians. Wednesday was Ukraine's Independence Day. The nonprofit group Project Sunflower hosted the event. As BCN's Micah Quinn explains, a flag was raised at Lethbridge City Hall to show solidarity with Ukraine in its war with Russia.
The Ukrainian flag is now flying high for all to see at City Hall. A large group of supporters looked on as the flag was raised. Residents came out to show unity for Ukrainian Independence Day on August 24th. In 1991, Ukraine issued a Declaration of Independence to separate from the Soviet Union. Later that year, Ukrainians voted to become an independent country and move away from Soviet rule. It's also been 6 months since Russia invaded Ukraine, and the ill effects of the war are still being felt everywhere, including right here in Lethbridge. Devin Hargreaves and Anastasia Sereda from the Ukrainian assistance group Project Sunflower were happy to see so many people come down for the rally.
By flying this flag here, we hope that it sends a message that Lethbridge, as part of Alberta and part of Canada, completely stands behind Ukraine and supports it.
So far, Project Sunflower has helped assist over 70 families to come to Lethbridge and southern Alberta. The group focuses on fundraising, housing, and identifying potential employment opportunities for new Ukrainians.
Things have slowed down a little bit for the summer. We do anticipate that likely to pick up probably come fall or winter. So I would encourage anyone that would consider opening their hearts and their home to individual or individuals from Ukraine to go to www.projectsunflower.ca and get that process started, and if that need were to arise, we can have that ready to go. The amount of support and people who have opened their homes so far has blown us away. It's been outstanding, and we're very touched by the Lethbridge community.
So I think that it also must be very touching for them to see that the Lethbridge community supports them.
The Ukrainian flag will fly at Lethbridge City Hall for a total of 1 week. For Bridge City News, I'm Micah Quinn.
The University of Lethbridge Associate Professor and Canada Research Chair Dr. Thrushar Patel says they will not impose a boosting or mask mandate this September when the fall semester begins, but the post-secondary will continue to be mask-friendly.
We are going to provide masks, and there are many mask and hand sanitizing stations across the campus, as we have done over the last year as well. So if students, faculty, colleagues, if they would like to use masks, they forget to bring it from home, we will provide them masks every day. We also have implemented enhanced air circulation systems. So the plan is, as we did last fall, to bring out more of the fresh air from outside with enhanced filtration devices, and we will circulate more of the outside air to indoor classroom spaces. So that is one of the other safety measures that we have implemented on campus.
Dr. Patel says the U of L will also continue to offer free rapid antigen tests on campus for anyone who needs one. Now, as for Lethbridge College, officials there say masks may be mandatory during some interactions at the Wellness Center, including all visits with on-campus physicians. We need to take a short break, but when we return, we'll have more news from around the province. Welcome back. The Friends of Chinook Regional Hospital in Lethbridge, along with AHS, have awarded 4 volunteers with healthcare professionals of tomorrow scholarships. The scholarships are given out each year. They are geared towards younger volunteers at the hospital who are in high school or university.
Some people are undecided on what they want to do and what career avenue they want to take. And we have these scholarships to healthcare workers. So healthcare worker doesn't have to be a physician, doesn't have to be a nurse. It could be somebody that's just going to be in healthcare, right? So whether it be an X-ray tech or something like that. So, but getting them involved and being able to be firsthand of how the hospital runs and really getting experience with patients, I think it's really pivotal in how they shape which avenue they're going to go in on their career.
Erickson says the money from the scholarships will go towards helping to further the students' education in the healthcare sector. It appears as though more family physicians are on their way to our city. Lethbridge East MLA Nathan Newdorf says this should help alleviate the need for some who are in dire need of a doctor.
To date, there have been 17 family physicians hired to come to Lethbridge and serve. 4 of them have commenced the first part of that assessment and transition. It is estimated that they will be starting this fall. Those 4, and with the further 13 beginning to come online closer towards the end of the year and into next spring. So 17 would roughly cut that number of people without family doctors in half. So we're not all the way there, but we have definitely turned a corner and we're moving in a very positive direction.
We'll hear more from MLA Newdorf later in the show. In other news, Calgary police say they're investigating after a body was discovered near Banff Trail on Thursday. They say officers responded to reports of a man found unresponsive on a road. Police say paramedics arrived and declared the man deceased on scene. Investigators are asking any witnesses or anyone with surveillance footage of the area to contact police. Calgary police have laid 66 charges against 2 men alleged to be trafficking so-called ghost guns produced using a 3D printer. Acting Staff Sergeant Ben Lawson says the force is actively working to target the growing trend of 3D printed firearms that have no serial numbers and can't be traced. Police say 300 of the more than 1,200 firearms seized this year were crime guns, and 9% of those were homemade or 3D printed. They say that's a significant increase over last year. An Oregon man accused of kidnapping and sexually assaulting a 13-year-old Edmonton girl is facing 3 new criminal charges in the United States. Police allege Noah Medrano lured the girl through an online platform, then abducted her and took her across the U.S. border in June. The girl was rescued on July 2nd when Medrano was arrested and taken into custody in Oregon City. He now faces a total of 8 charges, which include kidnapping, 4 sex-related charges, luring, and 2 counts of using a child in display of sexually explicit conduct. Alberta RCMP confirmed that they are investigating after UCP candidate Leila Ahir's social media accounts were hacked. Ahir, who was elected in the riding of Chestermere-Strathmore in 2019, says both her personal and Facebook accounts were compromised. In a Twitter post, she called it a targeted attack where inappropriate messages were sent. An emotional Ahir says her account was being used for sexual exploitation and that, quote, "we will find the perpetrators."
I am running to be Premier of this province and to lead the people of Alberta. So to whomever perpetrated this attack on myself and my family, you will not win. I will not back down.
The Alberta government announced more support for projects and programs that prevent crime and help keep Albertans safe. Justice Minister Tyler Shandro says $5.2 million will support a wide range of groups over the next couple of years to fight crime here in the province.
Eligible projects and initiatives would include programs that deliver crime prevention, community safety, and well-being services, projects that deliver youth gang prevention and exit programs, and work which enhances skills, knowledge, and capacity of organizations focused on crime prevention. Now, eligible groups and organizations can submit their applications starting today until September 30th.
Up next, Alberta's United Conservative leadership race is heating up, and an MLA in Lethbridge is throwing his support behind one specific candidate. We'll tell you who's supporting who after the break. Welcome back. Alberta's United Conservative Party will be choosing its new leader on October the 6th. Many would argue that at this point, it's a two-horse race between former Finance Minister Travis Taves and former Wildrose Party leader Danielle Smith. Lethbridge East MLA Nathan Neudorf has thrown his support behind Smith. BCN's Hal Roberts caught up with Neudorf to find out why.
Now, you threw your support behind Smith. Why is that?
Well, quite simply, Hal, it's because she listens. And I believe she has a very strong focus on grassroots development, which will allow me as the representative for Lethbridge East to share the top concerns for Lethbridge more fully. I think that's what people expect. Not that I agree with every one of her policies, but I do believe that she will listen and allow me to strongly take Lethbridge positions to government and make sure that our interests are well represented there.
Some of the items Danielle Smith is campaigning on and bringing forth is the Alberta Sovereignty Act. Where do you stand on that, Nathan?
I'm actually very strongly in support of it, but I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about it. The Sovereignty Act isn't just to say no to Ottawa. What it's meant to do is protect the jurisdictional authority of Alberta. The Canadian Constitution is very clear that there are certain authorities given to the federal government and certain authorities given to the provincial government. We want to protect Alberta's provincial authority, and when Ottawa veers too far into that lane, be able to legally tell them, no, you've crossed the line.
So how will that work in regards to Bill C-69, or as Jason Kenney referred to, the No More Pipelines Act?
Exactly. That would give us, instead of us having to take them to court, which we have, we won in Alberta, now the federal government has taken it to the higher Supreme Court, the tables would be turned. We would have the authority to say, under the Constitution, this is our jurisdiction. And no, we are going to go in this direction as is protected by the Canadian Constitution. If the federal government didn't like that, then they would have to take the province to court. And that would cost them money. Then they would have to defend their claims properly in the proper court of the land. So I think that needs to be more clearly understood. I've always been a strong supporter of local autonomy, and this, I believe, would further strengthen that.
What's interesting about all of this, taking, one government taking another government to court, it's all taxpayers' money at the end of the day. So taxpayers are saying, no, come on, let's figure this out. Nathan, a number of Conservatives I've chatted with are quite concerned that the UCP is not quite united anymore. What will it take to really unite the party once again?
Well, I think there's a couple things. One is we do need to have resolution on leadership. Right now, there are 8 competing voices for that spot, including our current premier and the work that he's trying to do. And 2, we need to take some time to sit down and work through those differences. I'm proud of our caucus, that we have a great breadth and diversity of viewpoints, that we have strong individuals all across the province bringing their voices to bear on issues that matter to them. Now we have to have the time to sit down under one united leader to have those conversations and work through it. We're adults. We know that we don't get everything we ask for, but we do expect to be respected, listened to, so we can bring those concerns forward, and then hopefully we can find a path that has consensus and majority. I believe we can get there, and we need a little bit of time to do that.
One of the stories we recently had on Bridge City News was how UCP leadership candidate Leela Aheer's social media accounts were hacked into. The hackers posted a lot of objectionable material that has simply devastated MLA Aheer. Have you had a chance to chat with her?
I did. I reached out to her this morning, talked with her a little bit through text, actually. She's devastated. It's horrible. It's disgusting what's happened to her. Unfortunately, it happens to too many elected leaders around the world. It needs to stop. I fully stand with her and hope that the RCMP can find out who's responsible for this and prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law.
Now, Nathan, last time we chatted, you mentioned that the province had a plan to bring more doctors to our city. I mean, 40,000 people in Lethbridge, including myself, still don't have a family physician. My doctor bailed and he went to the Netherlands. What's the latest with more doctors joining us here in the Windy City?
Well, we have very good news. To date, there have been 17 family physicians hired to come to Lethbridge and serve. 4 of them have commenced the first part of that assessment and transition. It is estimated that they will be starting this fall. Those 4, and with the further 13 beginning to come online closer towards the end of the year and into next spring.
After the break, Lethbridge celebrated its 125th annual Whoop Up Days Festival, complete with a pro rodeo. And after the break, we show you some of the highlights of the week there.
We have a team that says we're going to represent Africa, yes. The king of the jungle. Yes. We're here. We're here. That's why we have the lion head. Yeah. We came, we saw, we conquered Africa!
Welcome back. Well, this past week, Lethbridge District and Exhibition celebrated its 125th annual Whoop Up Days Festival. It all kicked off Tuesday morning with a parade. The first parade, by the way, since the pandemic. Thousands of people came out and lined the streets. Video journalist Naveen Day was there and had details of who took the top spot.
Well, summer is in full swing, and nothing says summer in Lethbridge quite like Whoop Up Days. Shortly before the parade began, I had a chance to chat with some of the people responsible for the creation of some of these amazing floats behind me.
We're proud to be bringing out our 1956 original fire truck from the town of Coaldale. This is the second fire truck that Coaldale's ever owned. There was 36 volunteers that bought the truck back, and then we worked with our local body shop, Custom Auto Body in Coaldale, and they restored the exterior of the truck for us, and now we use it for our parade unit.
The float is a reflection of what we do at Creepy Hollow, so we kind of gives you a taste of our haunted house and a bit of our personality all in one.
Due to the pandemic, last year's Whoop Up Days was scaled down and there was no parade. And the year before that, the entire event was canceled. Both participants and spectators alike are happy to be back to the festivities in full swing.
We missed not being able to perform over the last few years, so this spring and summer we've had lots of performances and we've been very happy about them. We love the parade, it's our favorite one.
We love coming down to the parade and seeing all the fun things that people do, and it's just, can't even put it into words how awesome it is to be back to normal.
Feels like we moved on. Life is back to normal. The idea that we can actually celebrate with people and sit here and enjoy the sunshine, enjoy family, feels great.
But the biggest celebration within the celebration was amongst the Southern Alberta African Canadian Association, whose float took home the top prize.
This is our first time participating in this great event. We told ourselves that we're going to come in full force. So we have a team that says we're going to represent Africa, the king of the jungle. We're here. We're here. That's why we have the lion head. We came, we saw, we conquered Africa!
This year, there were 88 floats that participated in the Whoop Up Days parade. For Bridge City News, I'm Naveen Day.
And for the first time in almost a decade, Whoop Up Days featured a pro rodeo. The special event took place over 3 days. Some well-known riders were here. CEO of Lethbridge and District Exhibition, Mike Workington, says it wasn't an easy process getting the rodeo back.
It's been an interesting conversation. It's probably been going on for almost 4 years at this point in time of how we get pro rodeo back here in a way that makes sense, that we can grow it into the future, and it can be a core staple of our event programming. Our board committed to rodeo. Our team has committed to rodeo. We have great partners in the Rocky Mountain Turf Club and a long list of sponsors who have helped us to make that rodeo a success this year. And we are ready to burst down the doors and let people in for tonight's perf.
Indigenous dancers put their best foot forward Wednesday and Thursday afternoon during Whoop Up Days. The Lethbridge and District Exhibition Powwow and Princess Pageants showcased dancers from across the Blackfoot Confederacy who went head-to-head for some big cash prizes, totaling $65,000. Organizers of the event say there were a wide variety of categories the dancers competed in.
For example, with the men's, it's always like men's traditional, men's fancy, the chicken dancers, also ladies traditional, ladies fancy, and ladies jingle dress. So each of those categories are spread out across all of the different age categories, right from the tiny tots to the juniors to the teens and to the adult categories, and including the seniors as well. What do we wanted to do? We wanted to also have included in our powwow a men's buckskin special. So the buckskin outfit will also be featured as a special in the powwow here today.
And no Whip Up Days would be complete without its biggest attraction, the rides. This year, the festival featured around 32 rides. Ride manager for West Coast Amusements, Darcy Benson, told BCN they had a little bit of everything for attendees, including a new thrill ride called the Rockstar.
That's brand new to this fair. We bought it actually just right in 2020, just before COVID, so it's pretty much brand new. We used it a little bit last year for a couple months, but outside of that, this is the first year for it. We got a little bit of variety for the young little ones to grandma and grandpa.
We need to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll introduce you to some of Whoop Up Day's furriest attractions. Welcome back. While visiting Whoop Up Days this past week, I had the chance to meet some very famous four-legged stars. Take a look.
Well, no Whoop Up Days celebration would be complete without an incredibly talented animal or animals. That includes, we got Twiggy and we got Hollywood, and these are water skiing squirrels, if you can believe that. So their parents are Tony and Chuck, and I want to hear about these squirrels. How do you get these guys to do the crazy things that they do?
So we just train them like you would a dog, just a lot of repetition, and we work with them just to get one lap, and we just increase the laps from there.
Okay, so my understanding is, Chuck, it's your family that kind of started the water skiing squirrels. How did that happen? You must have been a little kid at the time.
I wasn't even born, actually. So basically I was born into this. So yeah, I mean, traveling around the country as a kid with squirrels, I mean, it's kind of a fun thing to do as a kid, doing homeschool and travel, see the country.
So you were born into it. Your family started in what, 1978, correct?
1979 was the first show. September 21st, 1979 was the very first show in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And then basically, I mean, this was not supposed to be this. It was all a joke. And it just took off as far as my dad put it in the newspaper, and then everyone started doing news stories about it. And then we started getting calls, or my parents started getting calls to do shows, and it just got famous. It got put into TV shows and stuff like that, movies. And now we're the spokes animal for the National Safe Boating Council Wear It campaign, promoting water safety all over the world.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing, Steve. A safety message there too. But yeah, I was going to say, you guys are world famous, so it's pretty incredible that you're here in Little Lethbridge. And Tony, you're kind of marrying into this. Yeah. Were you into squirrels before you met Chuck?
I never had a pet squirrel or anything like that, but I am a huge animal lover, so their health and well-being is very important to me, just like any other pet. And the fact that we do rehabilitate squirrels and release them to the wild back home in Florida, that it's another just important factor of how we give back to our animals, you know.
Well, we're going from water skiing squirrels to extreme dogs. Come here, look at me. This is Topaz and Topaz's owner, Jen. And Topaz is part of Extreme Dogs. How do you train these dogs? I just have to know this.
So it's a lot of time and effort. The biggest thing that we like to do is we find what the dogs like for a reward. All of us are positive reinforcement trainers, so we let the dogs dictate and choose how they want to be rewarded. Him, for example, he doesn't really care for a toy, so his reward and his motivation comes from pockets full of treats. If I'm asking him to do something a little more difficult, I up the ante and I give him a treat he's never had before. If it's a little bit of steak from last night, or we cook special chicken or meatballs or whatever, we up the ante when we want them to do extreme things.
Well, I can't wait to see the show and see what these dogs are actually going to do, especially you, Topaz. You got a kiss for me? Mm-hmm.
Oh dear.
Yes. So we are talking now, I'm talking with Alex. Alex is the owner of this beautiful German Shepherd, Blevy. Now, I've been told that Blevy is a little bit famous.
She is. Yeah, she's a little bit famous. We've been able to, and privileged enough to work on a couple movie sets this year with some movies coming out. There's one called Wilderness. There's another one that's called American Girl, and then we've been working on a really fun television series called The Last of Us, filmed in Calgary. So we had a couple days on that and had an absolutely amazing time. So you'll have to watch out for those.
I totally will, and I think she's been in commercials, right?
Yeah, she's been in Canada Day commercials for Co-op as well, and we have a great time doing all this stuff. Yeah.
So, and how old is Blevy? You said 5 years old.
Yeah, Blevy's 5 years old, German Shepherd, and we do search and rescue together as well. So we go out and we help look for people that are lost and missing and cold cases and things like that. So we get to work with a lot of really professional individuals, and we get to help in a couple different ways.
Was she a search and rescue dog first, or a trickster? What do you call this? Tricks, right?
Yeah, she was right into shows as soon as she could, and we always start with whatever they want to excel at. That was what we go for with everything that we've got, and they really get to choose what they want to do, and she just keeps choosing all these new really cool careers. So she's an actress, she gets to do this Extreme Dogs, and now she's going out and helping others and searching.
We hope you enjoyed our look back at Whoop Up Days this year. It was an excellent celebration, and we thank the team at Lethbridge District and Exhibition for having us out. We sure did have fun. We need to take a quick break, but when we return, an MLA from Cypress Medicine Hat talks about the red flags he's seeing in the UCP leadership race. Stay with us.